we need to figure out a launch strategy, setting up sponsored ads, being aggressive. If you're starting out with no reviews, early reviewer program, being aggressive on your price, and figuring out a launch strategy. If there's certain target keywords that you want to rank for, can you compete for those keywords? Which keywords should we target? What does the reviews look like on the first page for those keywords for competitors? And then once we decide on keywords, then it's coming up with a launch strategy to get the product ranking. With new products, new ASINs, sponsored ads and being aggressive helps a lot in terms of ranking. So going aggressive on an auto and a broad match campaign can be really helpful.
The way that Amazon works is it's like a search query based platform. So you're going to get sales on Amazon when people go there and search for something. The only way to really get your products to rank for a search term is to already have sales for that search term. So it's kind of like a chicken and egg problem. Like when you launch a new product, you have no reviews, you have no ranks. How do you get people to buy it so that the rank pops up? You have to, be willing to lose a little bit of money up front. Really push people hard to buy it like at a discounted price, something like that, to get it to pop up. And then over the long term, if you get your rank popped up for a search term that's getting like 10,000 searches a month, for example, that's going to last for potentially years. Whereas the initial investment to get it to that spot might take, $1,000, $2,000. It's going to seem expensive up front, but if you rank on page one for a term that gets a lot of searches, you're going to make, hundreds of thousands of dollars from that over like the course of years.
Organic rank and getting organic reviews and getting sales initially and setting up the PPC is really hard, because when you first launch a product, you're excited, you want it to sell right away, and you're just trying to figure it out. And there's so many pieces that you're not sure of, that it's hard to get those initial sales and those initial reviews. And that's why there's a lot of companies out there that are selling programs to do deep discounts and drive, initial sales very quickly. But so the hardest part is not falling into the trap of going after the deep discounted sales right out of the gate and buying the reviews and doing all those things. I think that's the hardest thing, is seeing them giving you all the promises of, it's basically lose 100 pounds today and you don't have to do any work. There's no quick fix. There's no, I'm going to launch on Amazon and I'm going to make $1 million and it's going to be really easy. That's not the case. It's a lot of really hard work. There's a lot of learnings. There's a lot of failures, and you have to just keep learning and keep tweaking things and keep working on things until you find the right thing that works. And that may work for a year, and now you have new competitors and you have to relook at your products and relook at your listings and make sure you continue to be competitive. So it's a constant process of making sure that you continue to be relevant. There's no quick fix. And so the hardest part is realizing and knowing that there isn't a quick fix. There isn't a quick solve. You're not going to launch a product and become a millionaire overnight. So all of these platforms that are saying, hey, pay me $1,000 and I'll rank your product within 5 days. They may do that, but if you don't have the right strategy in place and you don't have a great product and you don't have a good price point, then you may rank for a week and then you drop off and you're back to selling one per day. So I think the hardest part is focusing on, how do I build and grow my business and make sure that over the long run, I'm going to be profitable so I can be here a year from now and I can add more products to my portfolio and keep growing, and really focus on the long-term strategy of growing your business in a way that is meaningful versus jumping into all the quick solve methods that are out there.
Do promotions on social. Amazon gives you lots of different ways that you can do promotions and get promotional codes out there onto social media, which I think is, again, if you're willing to really learn how to market on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, that's really your opportunity to reach a bigger audience. And you can do certain things with paid advertising on those channels where you can reach targeted audiences that you choose too. So I feel like social media is it's the easiest and the most effective. at this time, but you have to be really careful with it depending on what marketplace you're selling on. So if you're selling on Amazon, you have to make sure you're following TOS. You have to make sure you're not following up with those people who have deep discount codes to ask them for reviews, because that could be considered an incentivized review, which is a huge no-no. But I do think that having a proper launch plan on Amazon, making sure that you have brand registry, making sure you've got your everything in place, and then having a really strategic, really great social media marketing plan, I think is probably the best way to launch a new product.
I suggest that you start off with an initial inventory of at least 800 units, and the reason, and so of course this is designed for people who are not toe in the water, but really going all out. So the concept is I like to describe it as kind of a step function, that you go up it like a steps rising. So in the launch phase, I'm prepared to do a combination of giveaways, discounts, and velocity buys up to about 300 units. Okay. And so what my goal is to build up to about 20 units a day, just as a rough average in any product that I sell. So if I get up to that phase in that beginning, pre-launch phase, so I've sold 300 units. Now, if I figure that I've got, maybe another month to go before I can get more inventory in, that's 20 times 30 days, that's another 600 units. Yeah. So, 800 to 900 initial units is what I utilize based on that criteria.
Okay, what happens after the pre-launch?
Okay, so after the other thing that goes on in a pre-launch is, there's the manager's strategic part, and then there's the team's build-out part. So that's where the team queues up the emails in the email delivery system, determines, gets set up for any velocity buy services they're going to use, get set up in ready for sponsored ads, and all of that stuff, so that everything is ready to go once you pull the trigger. So that's the pre-launch phase.
So there's definitely things you could do with external traffic. Amazon really likes external traffic. I think you're going to get your best ROI from traffic within Amazon. But as part of a launch strategy, you could, test some external traffic, and then maybe once you have a more established product with reviews, you can then go back and test some external traffic again to see if you can convert at a more profitable type of price, maybe at a 20% coupon, 25% coupon, still make a profit and drive external traffic to Amazon. That can really help with your rankings as well, because if you think about being an engineer at Amazon who is developing the search algorithm, you would want to reward outside traffic. Outside traffic can bring new customers to Amazon, one, and could bring people that weren't on the platform to buy. So that's very valuable to Amazon.
The typical product launch for me is I'll go out and I'll do a proper, it's different than normal Amazon keyword research, but I do a different style of keyword research that allows me to tie in keywords into my press releases that also tie into rebates. And then I get sales volume, and what ends up happening, because the rebate or the press releases are such a great source of authority links, when they link back to Amazon, what I've noticed over the years is Amazon likes it and the product sticks longer. So you could back off your listing, and if you're indexed, you can actually see it doesn't drop immediately, it stays on. And then if you constantly do that once in a while and write a press release with those keywords in it, if it does start to drop a bit, it'll come right back up. I have so many graphs that show, on April 23rd, a listing started to slip. Oh, we put out a press release with 2 or 3 keywords through 3-6 rebates, towards it. And there's a formula for this, but all of a sudden, a miracle. It bumped back up. It's perfect.
On Blast is completely different, where you're paying a company to basically get all of those sales for you immediately, like say 200 in one day, and you're launching all of those products, and you're giving away all your products, plus paying a fee to have that launch service done for you.
So your launch phase is actually a 2-month process, and
Okay.
and if you get realistic about it, a launch never ends, because what happens is your phases change from the launch. So what happens is after about that 2 months, when you have sustainability, now you're starting to look at what can I do to increase my conversions. So if I have the same amount of traffic, how can I, increase my conversions with better video, better graphics, improving my listings. And then what can I do to bring in more traffic? Because now my goal, I might be in the top 6 positions if I'm fortunate, but now my goal is to get in the top 3 positions and to move up, in the step functions. So now I have to have put more marketing resources towards this product, in order to build it. So the question that I'm often asked is, are you saying that a launch is something that is really a sustaining function that keeps going? And I'm saying absolutely. And people say, well, boy, I don't have the energy to do that. And the reason that people don't have the energy to do that is because they treat it as this, hard, effortful step that they need to do, rather than systematizing it and turning somebody on their staff to make the decisions along the way. So if you systematize it, it's just like building listings or picking products or choosing suppliers. It's just another system in your business that is ongoing.
Well, my launch process is a lot longer, I think, than most people, only because I'm a huge fan of, I guess, what Pat Flynn calls now, will it fly? And I like to test the whole model and make sure, for me, it's never an option to be left with a garage full of widgets that you can't sell. So I like to thoroughly test that whole thing. So the next thing I would suggest is turning on, I use a tool called WooBox, but the tool really doesn't matter. But start running contests, quizzes, polls, and stuff like that on social media, which is very affordable and will also allow you to get to know your audience online, and simultaneously build a list.
One thing that's very important to do is to differentiate between the traffic tactics you'd use for a launch versus what you'd use for ongoing sales, because the economics of Amazon is such that it's generally about upfront, the front of the funnel, if you like. You don't really have much of a back end, which is the opposite to the sort of Shopify model traditionally, where you look at the lifetime customer value and the ad spend up front. You don't really have that luxury on Amazon most of the time. You can't control upsells and cross sells and things like that, and you can't really rely on it in most markets. So for that reason, you have to basically make sure the economics works based on one product. So that means Facebook ads, for example, are very effective as a way of launching things, less effective than they used to be, I have to say, but given what I was just saying about Amazon ads, but they still work. So Facebook ads plus some coupon codes can be a very effective way of launching. It's extremely expensive though, and not really very sustainable.
You can rank your product with PPC. You can rank your product with organic purchases, but from friends of friends. This isn't really necessarily like within Amazon compliance, but it's more like whenever you launch your first product, you're going to reach out to your friends or your friends of friends to help you get some early reviews or something like along those lines. A lot of people use Rebate Key to launch their products nowadays. Also, a lot of people use other launch services, Zon, Blast, or Last Launch. Those are just a couple. but it seems to be the movement is building your list outside of Amazon, either on Facebook or through email. And then once you have your list built of people that are ready to buy your product whenever you're ready to launch, you provide your product to those people, they buy your product, and now you rank on Amazon.
And so the way that I found to do that is twofold. First, from the micro standpoint, it's to have a very solid launch system, a structure of launching, because everything is strategic in the Amazon world, and most Amazon sellers will actually just go about introducing a new product in a very haphazard way. And you actually get penalized by Amazon for that, because Amazon wants to see that right out of the starting blocks for a new product that you are making increased momentum. And in order for that to happen, you have to stage it. It's kind of like in theater. You have to set up a set of actions in sequential order, allowing for changing your flow, for what kind of results you get. So you have a set of activities you do to get initial reviews. You have a set of activity you do to get initial sales at a discount, even though you can't get reviews on that. Then a set of traction to get sponsored ads and so forth. So the very first thing I would say is to have, certainly in the Amazon space, but in any marketing of an online product, have a sequential orchestrated set of launch steps.